Hi everyone. It's been a while. It has been a very long while. I felt like an eternity has passed since I've seen you guys and I miss you. I had to take a break for a few weeks because unfortunately I got sick. So I needed that time to rest and recuperate, but your girl is back. I did not abandon you guys. Today's video is something that is really exciting and something very near and dear to my heart, and that is the things that I love about Korea. Without any further ado, let's just jump right into it. Honestly, this is probably my favorite thing in this whole list. And that is that every area that you go to has a completely different vibe. Dongdaemun is completely different from, I don't know, let's say Ujiro or something. Like, they're so different. And the thing I love about it is that there's so much diversity and the kind of vibes that you feel from those places. And what I also love is that every time you go to a new place, it kind of feels like you're going to a completely different city. Even if you're just traveling within Seoul itself. Of course, even more if you're traveling outside of Seoul. It's just so distinct. The cultures, the feels, the vibes of each place are so distinct to one another. Not to one another, from each other, that it's really fun to travel and just see all that Korea has to offer. And this ties into my next point, which is that the ease of transportation, the ease of going to the places that you love is so incredible. Transportation is a breeze, and that's coming from a girl who purposefully avoided riding the bus for the first 2 months because I was too intimidated. You know, like, I come from a place in the US where you don't ride the bus, so I've never really had the chance to ride a bus. In the Philippines either, buses aren't really a thing unless you're going like outside the city. Anyways, I was just intimidated, but once I started riding the buses, it was fine. You'll be fine. I should probably do like a whole transportation video because I have a lot to say about it. I have a lot of tips for you guys, so if you want that, do comment down below. Anyway, so because of this ease of transportation, you can easily go to a lot of cool spots all in just one day. For example, you can go first to Gyeongbokgung Palace in the morning. You take the bus for around 15 minutes and you're already in the Insadong street. You can eat a dessert there with a nice hot cup of traditional tea. And then after you've walked around the colorful streets and seen all of the souvenir shops, because Insadong has a lot of them, you can go ahead to Gwangjang Shijang or Gwangjang Market, where you can eat a nice bowl of kalguksu next to everybody else inside the market. And it's just really nice how you can do all of that in one day. Not that I wholeheartedly recommend that because I like taking my leisurely time in each spot, but the fact that you can do that in one day if you did choose to is amazing. Now, this is more of a more personal preference kind of thing. A little context. I grew up mostly in an area in the Philippines which hasn't really been, modernized. Not modernized, but it hasn't been considered like a big city until recently. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that means people are a little bit more judgmental, especially when you want to dress up. Like, people are dressed up very casually, which I love. Hey, do you? That's exactly the point of this thing, is because for the people who do love dressing up where I grew up, people would kind of like side-eye them and be like, why is she trying to be all that? Do you know what I'm saying? I have friends who are also like this. If you like dressing up, then come to Korea. I can dress up in a full-on outfit with accessories galore just to go to the mart and nobody bats an eye. Also, like, on the other hand, I also see, because I lived in an area where it was near a university, I also saw students all the time just in their sweatpants and their hoodies and nobody batted an eye either. So it's just great. You can dress whatever way you want and people won't like instantly look at you and judge you like that. Of course, this is from the lens of somebody who just studied abroad and was not living there, because I have heard in, you know, other articles about Korea and other YouTube videos with listicles like this. Listicles, is that a word? With lists like this, one of the things they don't like is that people all dress the same. For me, it's what you make it. Listen, like, I understand where that's coming from, because whenever I walk the streets, 99% of people, especially in winter, are just wearing black and white. I, however, I'm like dressing up in like striped orange and green blouses and stuff like that. But I didn't feel judged. I didn't feel like anybody was looking at me weirdly because I was sticking out like sore thumb or anything. Also, you can accessorize to the nines over there. There are so many jewelry stores near the place that I lived in off campus. It was near another university, not Korea University, but there was a whole street that was just filled of jewelry stores. And it was just lovely going to all of them because I love me some jewelry. And speaking of jewelry, thank you to Ana Luisa for collaborating with me on this video. Ana Luisa is currently having their Valentine's Day sale. So you can click the link in my description box down below to save up to 40% off any jewelry of your choice. As for my personal choices, I chose Albali and Rigel. Yes, you heard it right. They have a ring named Rigel. If this was not fated and meant to be, I don't know what is. I did not make this in collaboration with them, just to make it clear, although I am open to that opportunity. This is not scripted whatsoever, but besides Rigel being my name and Rigel being in the Orion constellation, I am the foot of Orion. Yes, you heard me, I am the foot. I know my friends like laughing at that whenever I mention that I'm the foot, but you guys know how important your foot is. I am essential if you want to run and be a hunter like Orion. And Albali, after I researched on the name, I learned that Albali is actually a star in the Aquarius constellation. Guess what horoscope your girl is? Aquarius. So if this collaboration isn't written in the stars, then I don't know what is. Another thing I really love about Ana Luisa, besides my own personal connections to these jewelry pieces, is that they are a very sustainable company. I actually first learned about Ana Luisa through other content creators, and what really sparked my interest was their sustainability practices. Actually, last year in 2021, they became certified carbon neutral, and they are 100% water neutral as well. Besides that, the jewelry pouches that your jewelry come in, they are very cute, very usable. You can use this for not just the jewelry, but what I love about these is how light they are. Because if you want to travel, maybe to Korea, I don't know. If you want to travel to Korea or anywhere else in the world, it is so convenient. Look at how thin and how lightweight but durable these things are. So it's really great, they're really cute and reusable. Thank you again to Ana Luisa. Now, the next reason why I love Korea so much is the general public politeness and courtesy that I personally experience. I know this point is kind of contradictory to other people's experiences, especially here on YouTube, because I also am you know. I researched a lot about Korea before coming to Korea. So I heard kind of horror stories about people being like pushed and bumped, and of course that can also happen. But you know, I can only speak from my own experience. This is the era of disclaimers, so that is my disclaimer. Whenever somebody would accidentally bump into me, they would bow very respectfully and say sorry. Whenever it was raining, people would, you know, initiate or mirror me whenever I would like move my umbrella away so that we don't hit each other. Little things like that that just make me feel like, you know, I know Seoul has a reputation of people, you know, not talking or like paying attention to one another, which is, in a sense, it's true. Like any other city, it's a lot more fast-paced and people aren't really like in your business as much. But when it comes to general public politeness, I feel like I've had really positive experiences. The next thing I love about Korea is their Korea-isms with food. And what I'm talking about is like pickles next to your pasta or corn on top of your pizza. And what I love about this is whenever I see these kinds of things, whenever I was eating my way around Seoul, it just made me smile and reminded me that I was in Korea. Oftentimes, maybe you'll find this too if you ever study abroad or live in another country, is that you're so caught up and so immersed in your day-to-day life that, at least for me, I felt like sometimes I would forget that I'm actually very far away from home and in Korea, because I was so used to living there already. I like was immersed in it already. But seeing these things kind of like remind me like, oh, that's right, I am in Korea. I am here living alone. Yeah, it's definitely something that just makes me smile. We're getting a little tea break because I don't know if you can notice, but my voice is starting to be hoarse after being sick for that long. I wasn't talking that much. Let's do it Korean style. Pretend like I'm drinking soju or something. Why am I like this? I don't know either. Let's move on to the next point. Next, if you love taking photos of yourself, of other people, photography in general, if you have your Instagram game on, you will love Korea. This goes without saying, is that there's no shame in whipping out your phone or your DSLR, your mirrorless camera, anywhere whatsoever, and taking a bunch of photos. Of course, you know, be considerate of the people around you. This goes without saying. If you are in a touristy place or in a crowded place, don't block other people just to get your photo. Have other people take their turns taking their photos in the cool photo spots as well. But with all that being said, I love how there is such a photo culture there. The film camera industry, if you're also into that, has also been prominent, at least in my friend circle in Seoul. A few of them have been able to go to different film stores to get their cameras and their rolls, so that has been amazing. Actually, like a funny anecdote is that one time we went to Jeju, and there will be a Jeju travel guide in the future coming near you. But we went to Jeju and there were so many couples who brought their big ass tripods. Like, I'm talking like legit like 3-tier tripods with them on their trip so that they can time themselves and take beautiful photos. But if you don't bring a tripod, you can also, next point, ask a Korean to take a photo for you, and 99% of the time they will be amazing. They know the angles, like they take it as if they're taking it for themselves or for their close friends, which I love. There isn't this fear of like you going to a touristy spot or like a cool photo spot and not have any pictures to commemorate it because nobody can take a picture of you, or you're like too shy to do it yourself. You can just ask these kind Korean strangers to take your photos for you, and most of the time it will be amazing. Number 8 is how Korea is a cafe paradise. Now listen, I am not a coffee person, admittedly. I do not have the makings of a coffee bean, although I am kind of dressed as one today. I am more of a hot cup of matcha kind of girl, a fruit aid kind of girl. But there is a cafe for everybody in every area of the city. What I love about this is you can go to so many different kind of vibes. You know, I'm all about the vibes. If you can't tell from this list, you can go to a very Instagrammable cafe. You can go to a very foodie cafe. You can go to a cafe with very specialty drip coffee. You can go to my favorite kind of cafes, which are very chill study cafes. They're not really labeled study cafes, but the presence of all the outlets, and like if you go on Kakao Maps, sometimes there'll be pictures of people studying on their laptops. I love those the best because finals and midterms in Korea University was really interesting. I had 6 classes, so I was studying like crazy. But yeah, I just really love going to all these study cafes, and it really heightened my appreciation for the art of drinking, whether it be coffee, tea, or whatever your favorite drinking option. I sound like I'm talking about alcohol, but whatever your favorite beverage might be in those cafes. Another thing I love is being able to try so many different cuisines. The set of choices that you can have when it comes to cuisines is mind-blowing. Let's say in Itaewon, there will be like a traditional Korean place that serves kalguksu. Of course, I had to bring in kalguksu. Kalguksu is my favorite Korean dish next to gukbap. I'm just throwing it out there. And you know, there will be also like a really nice Japanese restaurant. There will also be izakayas in the same place. There can be an Indian restaurant over there. There's so many, and it's amazing because you can find out more about other countries' cuisines while in Korea. And like, you might even find out your next new favorite kind of country cuisine while you're just wandering the streets of Seoul. Now, the last point is definitely very personal. It is a lot more abstract and not very practical, but I feel the need to say it, and it's that I love how personally at home I felt in Korea. Of course, now you can see why this is very personal, because there are so many factors that contribute to that, but in general, I felt very at home there. I was a study abroad student. I lived alone for about 5 months off campus. I was doing all my own groceries and just living my daily life. So I felt very immersed, and yet I felt welcomed. Maybe things would have been different if I was working there and I had more pressures on me than just getting good grades. But For living in a country where I could barely speak the language, for somebody who could only speak the basic stuff and I still had to like rehearse whenever I remember like the first time I went to a mart to do my groceries, I had to like, I made a list of things that they could possibly ask me at the cash register, so I was prepared. Of course, they also asked me a question which I was not prepared for, but you know, it's part of living in another country where you don't know the language. Even with all those factors, I just felt very cozy, and I felt like I was really living in Korea, not just being a guest there. So I guess number 10 is just more of a space for me to thank Korea as a land, but also thank the people who made my stay so great. Shout out to you, you're probably watching this too. You know who you are. But yeah, thank the people who I met, both Korean and my study abroad buddies, for blessing me with the comfortable life, the immersed life, the happy life that I lived in Korea. So yeah, enough of the sappiness. Sappiness good. And that wraps up today's video, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram because I have been posting reels about Korea on there for the past few months, and I will try to post more once I get back into the groove of being active on socials. Thank you again to Luisa for gifting me these jewelry pieces and collaborating with me on this video. Don't forget to click the link in my description box so you can get up to 40% off your favorite jewelry pieces. And do let me know if you end up buying Ragel or Albali, because I would love that for you. You get to have my namesake in your hand. That would be amazing. But yeah, if you have any questions, comments, any video recommendations, I love to hear video recommendations because you know, I want to film things you guys want to watch, so definitely let me know in the comments. I have some videos lined up, just need to find the time to start polishing those videos and look forward to it. I'm very excited for them. So see you guys next time, and thank you again. Bye.